So if you look at our objective today, our objective is we will learn the levels of organization in the human body and about the integumentary, skeletal, and muscular system. And that's my hope that we get to it. I would love if we get to the nervous system today, but we'll see. All right, so you should have done your foldable already. What we're going to do is we're going to go through and talk about each one of these, which should be, truthfully, in my opinion, review. Because last year in 7th grade, you spent a good amount of time learning every single system. Okay, so all this for the next 3 days should be reviewed. All right, so for the cell is the smallest functional unit of all living things. It's the smallest functional unit of all living things. The reason I put the word functional in there is because are living things made out of matter? Yes. And what is the smallest unit of all matter? An atom. So any organism is basically made out of a bunch of atoms. But just by themselves, the body can't function. The organism can't function. You have to have cells. Cells are the smallest functional unit of all living things. Examples of cells are things such as the cardiac cell, which is a cell inside the heart. I'm going to make this a little bigger. A neuron, which is a cell, it's like a nerve cell. A plant cell. So a cell is basically several things that are going to be, they're put together and they work together. After we finish the organs, the human body, we're going to look at specifically cells and the pieces that make up the cell. Tissues. When a bunch of cells that are exactly the same come together, they make a tissue. So a tissue is a group of the same type of cell. And there's a bunch of different tissues within your body. Some examples are like the connective tissue. Connective tissue in your body is tissue that connects things together. Skin tissue, hair tissue. Now, we're talking about the human body, but you also have to realize that all these levels of organizations are here for every single other organism, especially if it's an organism that is a complex organism. A plant is an organism, and it has all these levels. So the outer layer of a leaf is considered a tissue. It is very different from the outer layer of the roots, from the outer layer of the petals. So those tissues are different. Even though a plant's not as complex as a human body, it still has complexity and it still has these layers, or these levels. Then when several of those tissues come together, they become an organ. And an organ is just basically a group of tissues that are working together to perform a specific job. So when several tissues come together, they come in and they make an organ. Example, the heart. The heart is made out of cardiac muscle tissue. It's made out of connective tissue. It's made out of vessels. And it's made out of neurons. All those things are in the heart. All those different tissues are in the heart. And they all work together to help the heart do what it needs to do, which is pump blood. Lungs, kidney, all those are different organs. All of them have a bunch of different tissues that allow them to do their job. Okay? If we think of a plant, the flower would be an organ. A leaf and sections of the leaf would be an organ. So an organ is just several tissues come together to work together. And then when several of those organs come together, they make up an organ system. The organ system is all different organs or several different organs coming together to perform a critical job. So not only are they performing a job, it's an important job. Because without all of them working together, something that is very important is not going to happen. Example of an organ system is the circulatory system. What's the importance of the circulatory system?
Nutrients gets around the body.
Okay, nutrients gets around the body. What else gets around the body? Okay, well, blood cells are carrying the nutrients, and what else are they carrying?
Oxygen.
Oxygen, very good. So, that's critical. Without oxygen, could you live?
Nope.
Without nutrients, could you live? So, when we think of a system, it's all those organs working together, but they're performing something very critical, something very important. In a plant, a root system. Without the root system, what would the plant not get? What? Can they live without water?
Nope.
No. So, if you look, these levels of organization are just increasing in complexity and importance. Then when all those systems come together and working correctly together, you get your organism. So all the systems come together and they work together for the survival of an individual. So an organism is just an individual. A person, a dog, a tree. So these levels of organization are just basically within one organism. Now, if I want to continue these levels, what would come after an organism or an individual? A population. Very good. What would come after population?
Community.
Community. What comes after the community? Ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem then? Not biosphere yet.
Bio.
A biome, and then a biosphere. So if you look, all these levels of organization join together. If I start off with the first one, I have to start off with atom, and I build up. So all these levels are just building up to something much more complex, and we end up with the biosphere.
So it all depends on the cells?
Organisms are dependent on cells, yes.
Organisms, yeah.
Yes. So, any questions on these levels? Alright, to finish this up, and a lot of you did not do this for the last one. Remember, you were supposed to go in and on this side of the foldable, you were supposed to do what?
Make questions.
Write questions.
Oh.
A lot of you didn't do that. You better make sure you do it here. Remember, you're writing either a level 2 or level 3 question over that word. Okay? So, any questions over this? We're good? Yes.
What goes on page 106?
What goes on page 106? The reflection page, I think.